reading scholars, Principles of Marketing, Mark 3010, sections 1 and 30. I'm going to do a little different this week, and you'll notice that I have several names up here already. This is the top 5 and honorable mention for section 1 and section 30. But I thought that I would concentrate on the full class together, as if we're both operating together. So you can see for the section 010, we have Peyton Payne, Nicole, or Nickel. I don't know exactly how that's pronounced. Send me an email and let me know. Carlos, Diana, Dixon, and then honorable mention, playing for Pride, Matthew Cates. And then in the 30, letter O section, we have Miss Bagley, Hunter, Rosie, Desiree, is the way I'm saying that every time. If that's wrong, email me. Or email me anyway, just say, that's right, Desiree. Jasmine, and then honorable mention, Destiny Reese. So now let's look at overall with both classes competing, if you want to say that, against each other. We'll start off with number 5 for week number 3, and that is Peyton Payne. So we can see that Peyton Payne. You can see that Peyton came in first in the section 1, but when they're both put together, average point wise, he came in 5th, or she. Peyton, tell me, which way is it? I could go look, but not right now, because I don't have access to Banner right now. Obviously, because I'm talking to you. Number 4, Desiree Famber. So, over here came in number 4 in the section 30 class and 4th overall. They all had very high scores. Number 3, Rosie, come out tonight. Rosie, send me an email and just kind of give me a phonetic pronunciation of your last name. I don't even want to attempt it because I'm sure it won't be anywhere near right. Rosie had a great post about politics and marketing and politics and business. And, you know, we're coming into a year that ends with an O, which means that there are always tons of elections in years that end with O, on both state and national level. And there's politics everywhere. Television, banner ads, online. And, you know, what effect does that have? Well, I started and sold 3 successful businesses, and I wanted everybody's money. So I never tried to offend anybody with anything. Doesn't mean that I didn't have views, and I have very strong views. I've been involved in politics my whole life, even worked in it for a while. But there's some companies, somebody mentioned Starbucks. We know, you know, what their political bent is, or their ideology anyway. You know, it's very inclusive and welcoming, and, you know, they're not looking to rule anybody out. And there's other businesses, you know, that might have a Q banner flying in front of their store, and you go, okay, they might be a little crazy. But I'll tell you something I did recently when the president came out and encouraged people to boycott Goodyear tires because of something he got upset about, whatever. I thought to myself, I know that Goodyear has 2 or 3 facilities in Georgia, and I know that they have their corporate office in Ohio. It's been there since they were making bicycle tires in the 1800s. I'm thinking a lot of people drive around on Goodyear products and work at Goodyear. So I'm thinking there might be a little clap back to that. So I bought some Goodyear stock at around 50 bucks. Figuring that people would go, in other words, rather than boycott it, people would go, that's where my uncle works, that's where I work, that's where this state relies on that. Go look at the price today. I'll give you a tip. It's a pretty good move. Okay, so that was a good question. Number 2. Hunter Collins. The overall upshot of the post was, if you start a business, are you interested in going head to head with the big boys? Or how would you do that? Or what might be some strategies you might employ? He talked about Kmart and Walmart. And Kmart was around long before Walmart. And now Kmart's not around anymore. There was one in Dalton, right downtown. I'll tell you something about how big Kmart was. One of the largest food wholesalers in the country. It was based out of Geneva, Alabama, oddly enough, which is in the middle of nowhere, called Fleming Foods. And they distributed groceries to thousands of grocery stores. They were huge. I think the big office was out of Oklahoma, and then they had this other operation down in Alabama, and it was huge. One of them was just super huge, let's just say. And Kmart was one of their big customers. They sent all the grocery items to Kmart. And when Kmart initially filed their bankruptcy, which means that they didn't have to pay any of their old bills, they had to pay all their new bills on time. The old bills, they were going to work out in court and figure out which ones they had to pay and how much they had to pay. They owed Fleming so much money that it put Fleming Foods out of business. That's how big Kmart was at one time, them not paying their bills to Fleming. But I'll give you this little tip for going into business, and it comes from baseball. They say, how can you best be successful as a batter in a baseball game? The old saying goes, well, hit it where they're not, right? Then you'll get on base, and that's how you score runs. You start a business, hit it where they're not, either geographically or positioning. Right? Nobody wants to start a business and say, our goal is to open big box stores and compete with Walmart and Target directly. Well, not many people are looking to do that. But if you can find a niche of a product, you can make a ton of money in a niche market. A niche market would be a smaller size market, but it still can be huge. Think of method cleaning products. They're nowhere near as big as Procter & Gamble in their cleaning products, but they make a ton of money because they're serving a niche. Or find a place where people aren't and do business there. So if Uber Eats is not in your town, you can start Dalton Food Runners, right? And do it on that kind of scale. So anyway, and number 1, where's Hunter over here? He's here. Where's Rose? She's there, so they're in the 30 section. Number 1, and I believe she's been in the top 5 about every week. Melanie Bagley. And she was number 1 in the 30 section. So overall, we could say that other than Peyton, no, we're not quite through yet. Melanie had a thing about cell phone contracts and repackaging of contracts to make them more appealing, and cell phone service contracts have always been brutal, and that's why a lot of them are getting away from it. Somebody else responded with, Cricket using AT&T towers. I might be a good example of that because I swapped over. I'm an Xfinity customer here at my home for internet and television, and I even have a landline. It was like, for a fax machine, it was like $5 or something. But when Xfinity, Comcast, got into the mobile market with Xfinity Mobile, I signed up with them for my own personal one. I got away from AT&T. It was a lot cheaper, a lot more straightforward. And I gave it a test run, worked out great. And then I signed my whole family up as their contracts expired with AT&T. But, you know, they use the Verizon network. And it's the one they're on. But they have it's less expensive, just as good as any of them, and they're all terrible as far as, you know, making phone calls and dropouts and connections, but it's still pretty good. And to me, Xfinity saw an opportunity where people were not happy with those contractual obligations from the big legacy carriers, and they saw a niche and an opening in there, and also said if we convert our existing customers over and give them a deal, then we'll be a one-stop shop for all that stuff. That's the way it worked with me, and I've been with them now since they started, and now everybody's on board. So, honorable mention overall, who did Peyton Payne just barely beat out? Lord Taylor. And I mean, let's see, just barely by 1 point. We added up all the fractions. Right, so very good. And that's our number 1 and 2. Here, we're at the bottom here. So overall, this quality of post, the 30 letter O section did a little bit better. So that is our week 3 Packback update. Good stuff. I enjoyed reading it, and the next chapter lecture will be posted hopefully later on today. I don't know why I made that noise, but anyway, later on today, unless something bad happens. So with that said, I will cross my arms in a pensive frame. Just kidding. And I will see you guys. Let's see if we had anybody before I wrap up. Looks like we had 4 people did not participate, and we've still got a couple people who are not categorized properly. So I don't know what to say about that, but if you're in the 30 section, you want to be in the Packback section 02. If you're in the 01 section, you want to be in the Packback section 01. So I don't mess up the grading again. All right, I'll see you guys next week, if not before.